Good evening, everyone. My name is Chelsea Buccarati, one of the counselors here at Lambert, and I am presenting tonight with Diana Doe, hoping to give you guys some good information for helping your child survive junior year. We're going to be talking about lots of good stuff. We also have Miss Susan Fagan, who's going to be joining us. She is the contact person at Lambert for the internship and mentorship for Scythe program. And we really appreciate you guys being here tonight.
To give you all an overview of what we'll be discussing tonight, we will just go over what junior year will look like for your student, go over graduation requirements, start exploring some post-secondary options, and go over all of the things that colleges will be looking for, such as GPA, and we'll also be covering scholarship information. Mrs. Fagan will be discussing internship, mentorship opportunities, and we'll also discuss some additional opportunities that students will have during high school, such as dual enrollment. And lastly, covering standardized testing information. This year, our counseling department has shifted a little bit. We have welcomed Dr. Pack to our counseling department. We are super excited to have him join us. In years past, we have been divided up into different grade levels. This year, we're really excited about our new model of all having grades 9 through 12 and split by last names. So caseloads have shifted a little bit this year, so please make sure that you and your student know who your student's counselor is. We do share a lot of information through these different platforms, so it's super important that you all join or follow us on all of these different pages. We do utilize School Messenger, our It's Learning counseling page, and our website just has so much information, and the link to tonight's presentation will also be uploaded to our counseling website. And then all of our social media platforms where, we have had to be creative in using all of these platforms, especially being virtual last year. And so please follow us if you are not already. In terms of scheduling appointments, we do have a little bit of a different process for students and parents. Students can schedule appointments with their counselor through what we call Acuity. We use Acuity. So students can scan a QR code that is in all of our teacher classrooms, in the counseling office, around the school. And we also have a link on our counseling website as well. So students can choose a day and time for the appointment for a 15-minute counseling appointment. So students can choose, a day or a period that works best for them. Students typically like to use their lunch periods, but this QR code and the appointment scheduler on the website is for student use only. For parent appointments, please just contact us directly. You can email or give us a phone call, and we would be happy to schedule an appointment with you as well. Here are some upcoming informational opportunities for you all. So tonight's session will be recorded. We will post this if you all want to look back at the presentation. We are going to be conducting junior small group parent meetings. These will be virtual, and you all will be able to schedule them. We will give more information on the dates as soon as we get that scheduled. But in these small group parent meetings, we'll be discussing your students' graduation status, making sure that they have everything.
Hold on, Ms. Doe. I accidentally just made you not a presenter. Give me 1 second. Okay, now you should be good.
Okay, I think I'm back on. Sorry, I don't know what you all heard so far, but we will be conducting the junior small group parent meetings at a later date, which we will give you all We will publicize the dates, and in these meetings, we will be discussing your students' graduation status. So making sure that they're on track for graduation. We'll be discussing their course selection for next school year, and just discussing all of their post-secondary plans. We will also be conducting junior classroom lessons with your students at school. And then we do have a virtual financial aid night next Tuesday. It will be through Microsoft Teams at 6:30. Once we post our presentation, you all can watch this video. It's just a really great video to speak with parents about how to really help your students junior year. We understand, and I'm sure you all see it, and our juniors definitely know that junior year can be really stressful and challenging, especially transitioning, back from virtual learning for a lot of our students. It has been super challenging, and we are seeing this year more than ever just an increase in students who are struggling with their mental health this school year. And so this video will give you all some really great insight, and also just tips on how you can support your students, and just really creating a safe space for your student to really share some of the stresses going on, because it can be really overwhelming. And so please watch this video when you get a chance. So what should you be looking for as parents that may be, a little bit concerning? So changes in behavior, diet or sleeping patterns, changes in their attitude. A really big piece also is social media. I'm sure you all are aware of just everything that's been going on with TikTok trends and all of these things. And so just making sure that you all are helping your student monitor their social media accounts. And we'll talk a little bit more about this later on in this presentation. So why is junior year so important? And a lot of times why our students can be really overwhelmed this year is oftentimes it is, this is going to be the last year that colleges will see before students begin their college application process. In addition to that, students are preparing for their standardized tests that they often take during junior year. And, we really encourage our students to develop a list of colleges just so that they're able to stay organized and have that list prepared so that once college applications open up, they'll be able to get started on that instead of, trying to get organized in the beginning of senior year. So under the umbrella of what we do, we try to organize it when we explain it to others in these three categories of academic advising, college and career planning, and social emotional support. With academic advising, we help students with scheduling, so making sure that they know what they need to graduate high school, and making sure that they're taking the correct courses in the correct sequence. We also meet with students individually, and we also do go into the classrooms to go over all of this information. With college and post-secondary planning, we do help students. Oftentimes students will have their list of college and want to go over it with us, which we love to do with SAT and ACT prep and college rep visits. This year, we are continuing on with our virtual college rep visits, which we have the schedule on our counseling website for students to be able to speak with admissions counselors. We have colleges every week, and so please encourage your students to check that page out. And with social emotional support, small group and individual counseling, and any crises or referrals that we receive. An overview of our graduation requirements. Students need a total of 23 credits to graduate. And on the right-hand side, you can see the specific courses that students need credits in. So English, math, science, students will need 4 full credits, and you can see the specific courses listed out on the right-hand side. Social studies, students will need world history, US history, gov, and econ, which typically are 1 semester each. Students will need, in any combination, a total of 3 credits in world language, fine arts, and career tech. Students who plan to attend a 4-year college or university must have a minimum of 2 years of the same world language. It is not a requirement for high school graduation necessarily, but it is a requirement for college admissions. Students need half a credit in health, PE, and then 4 additional general electives. Now we'll be discussing some post-secondary opportunities for students. Our presentation tonight will be heavily focused on college planning, but there are several other opportunities for students that we talk with students about all the time. And so, if your student is just wanting more information, or, really know that they're interested in the military, we are happy to speak with them about that as well. This is just some statistics based on our previous classes, but for our junior class, we do have a total of 728 students. 99% do graduate on time. And then we have a 96% of students who do attend 2-year or 4-year colleges. And so, our graduates have progressed to attend many, many different colleges. Most are in-state public schools, but we do have a combination of really everything. So, here we've listed just the most popular student acceptances for both in-state and out-of-state universities that you can see here, that we have just listed for you all. And a lot of times when we are viewing student college lists as well, most of these colleges will be on their college list. In exploring and developing a college list, we really believe that the best way to get to know more about a school is to really get a feel for what it would be like to be on that campus. And so we really encourage our students to have a campus visit if they can. Our juniors and seniors are allowed to take 4 days to visit colleges. So those days would be completely excused. Students do need to complete the permission slip prior to visiting, or prior to their college visit. We do have the slips in our counseling office, and we also have them on our counseling website as well. We know that last year, a lot of college campuses started offering virtual college tours due to the pandemic. A lot of schools have opened back up, but we recommend just contacting the school directly to see if they would have someone give a tour, or if a student could take a student guided tour on the campus. And a lot of times when you do schedule an appointment with an admissions counselor or, a student, it's just nice to get their viewpoint, hear what their experience has been like. And we ask that, students be prepared with some questions that they'd want to ask for the visit. So Big Future is a resource that we really recommend our students utilize. It's a resource to help students begin the process of finding the best fit when looking for a college. It gives an opportunity for students to really think about what's important for them in a college campus. So when students access this resource, they can filter colleges by a specific major that they know they might want to study. If they know, where they want to be, so location, maybe they really have always wanted to be on the West Coast. They even have filters of the type of school, so 2-year, a 4-year school, private or public school, and even different study options. So if a student knows, I really want to be in an honors program, or I want to join ROTC, or I really know that I want to study abroad while in college, they're able to select those filters and see which schools offer those opportunities. And it really allows students, if when you first log in, they ask students, I have no idea, I've never thought about this, all the way up to, I really, have thought about this. And so it really does benefit students in all different, categories. In choosing an application decision plan, it is important to know the differences between the plans and which college admission process may best fit your student. And so you can kind of break it up into two different categories. So the left-hand side, we have the non-restrictive, non-binding application plans. So these schools, the student is not committing to attend if they are accepted. So with regular decision, students are submitting an application by a specified date and receive a decision, in a clearly stated period of time. It typically will be a little bit later, depending on the school. Typically January, December, but some are even later. For rolling admission, institutions will review applications as they are received versus waiting to evaluate all applications after a hard deadline, like in regular decision. So these institutions who are have rolling admission, they will continue to evaluate applications until they filled all their spots for their incoming class. And so with rolling admission, typically, applying early is advisable just so that, all the spots are not filled. With early action, which is also non-binding, students will have an earlier deadline, and students will receive their admission decision in advance. So typically this would be October or November. The right-hand side, we have the restrictive application plan. So these are binding. So students are committing to attend if they are admitted. So early decision 1, students are making a commitment. So this should be reserved for a college that students really want to attend, and they know that they would love to commit to if they were accepted. And you may only file one early decision application since it is binding. With early decision 2, it is very similar to early decision 1. It is typically a later deadline, and so it does give students a little bit more time to improve test scores, or if they didn't get into their first choice of early decision 1. And then the last one is restrictive early action. This one is binding as well. And this one is reserved particularly for private schools. And so they also may be restricted from applying early decision or early action or restrictive early action to any other institutions. So what are colleges exactly looking for? So these are some of the things that college admissions counselors are looking for in a student's application. They are looking at GPA and the standardized test scores. However, they are also wanting to know extracurricular activities. What does the student do outside of the classroom? What are they really interested in and passionate about, and how does that show in what they do in their community. They are also looking for, if a student has any leadership positions, and in extracurricular, jobs are also important. Any internships that the student may have. They are also reading teacher and counselor recommendation letters if required, and not all colleges require letters. And so, but if they are looking at these as well. And some colleges, not all, will seek out academic rigor. So looking at the courses that, students take, such as AP, dual enrollment, and honors classes. So to see if a student, is challenging themselves in a particular subject area. The academic rigor courses are not required, for graduation or for all colleges. Just some colleges will seek out the academic rigor piece. The next video that you all can watch once we post the presentation, it speaks about social media and college admissions. We know that more than ever, our current students are, on many, many different platforms. And so, it really talks about how students can utilize social media to really highlight some of their interests and kind of the do's and don'ts of social media. So please watch this when you all get a chance.
All right, so now we're going to talk about how to afford college since we've been talking about how to get there. Sorry for the technical difficulties tonight. Microsoft Teams has not been my friend, but hopefully things will be smooth sailing from here. So when it comes to financing college, the most important thing is that you investigate all resources for funding. And so we have several different resources that we want to highlight for you guys. First, another plug for Financial Aid Night, which will be this coming Tuesday through Microsoft Teams as well. We have a local rep coming who is a wealth of knowledge about this entire process. But there's also Hope in the Zell Miller Scholarship, which I'm going to be talking about in just a minute. There are college scholarships, so like through the actual school that your child plans to attend. And then there are local scholarships, like local to Forsyth County seniors, which I'll show you how to access as well. National merit scholarships. Then there's government financial aid, including loans and grants. All of that comes from completing the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. It begins October 1st of your child's senior year. So none of this is stuff that you can actually do anything about until your child is a senior, unfortunately. But it's important to kind of be aware of what's coming. Okay, so we're going to go over the Hope Scholarship, Zell Miller Scholarship, and Hope Grant in detail at this point. So the Hope Scholarship is for students who are attending an in-state public college or university. So it's got to be a public school. So, Emory, Berry, they're not going to fall under the Hope program. Students who earn the Hope Scholarship can expect to have about 80% of their tuition covered at those in-state public universities. So that doesn't include like room and board, meal plan, any fees associated with tuition and that sort of thing, but it is still a nice chunk of money. In order for students to qualify for the scholarship, they must have a 3.0 core GPA. So that's only in their English, math, science, social studies, and world language classes. So it is not the same GPA as what appears on their Lambert transcript. And usually the Hope GPA is lower than the GPA that is on your child's Lambert transcript. The only way that you can view what your child's Hope GPA is to have them create an account with georgiafutures.org. I'll show you what Georgia Futures looks like in just a minute. But that website is run by the Georgia Student Finance Commission, which is who awards the Hope Scholarship. So they do the calculation all on their own based off of their high school transcript, and they will not round. So if your child graduates with a 2.9999 to infinity, they will not qualify for the Hope Scholarship. any courses that your child took in middle school or before they stepped foot on Lambert's campus. So any classes they took the summer before ninth grade as well, they will not be counted in that GPA calculation. Another important note is that although we at Lambert and Forsyth do give additional weight for AP and dual enrollment classes, a whole quality point of weight, the Georgia Student Finance Commission does not. They only give a half of a quality point for those AP and dual enrollment classes, and it caps out at a 4.0. So if your child were to get an A in a dual enrollment class, it would not be a 4.5, it would just be a 4. But if they got a B in a dual enrollment class, it would calculate as a 4.0 instead, or as a 3.5 instead of a 3.0. Whereas at Lambert, it will calculate as a 4.0 instead of a 3.0 if you got a B in an AP or dual enrollment course. So really, really, really important that you are checking your Georgia Futures account and checking your Hope GPA at the end of every school year. So at the end of this year, when our final grades are posted, that is going to be when Georgia Futures will update again. So you'll know when your child's going into their senior year, you know, what they need to do to either earn or keep their Hope Scholarship eligibility, because it's not finalized until graduation. The Zell Miller Scholarship is the second tier of the Hope Scholarship, and it works at all the same schools, so in-state public schools, but instead of covering 80% of your in-state tuition, it covers 100% of your tuition. So again, still doesn't include the meal plan or housing or any of those things, but it will cover 100% of that tuition check. Because of that, the qualifications are a little stricter. So students must have a 3.7 core Hope GPA. So it's the same GPA calculation with those core classes only, and the same weight that's added for the Hope GPA. But there's also a testing requirement. So a 1200 minimum on the SAT, as in one sitting, so not including a super score, or a 26 composite score on the ACT. It's also automatically awarded to students who graduate as the valedictorian or salutatorian from any Georgia public high school. Let's see, there is a tuition assistance program with the Hope program at Georgia private colleges. So although it's not going to give you the same, you know, full 80% or 100%, depending on how much money the program does have left, sometimes there is a little bit of aid left for students who are choosing to attend private schools in the state of Georgia. Lastly, the Hope Grant is for typically used by students who are pursuing a degree or certificate program at a technical school. So students who attend linear tech, the GPA requirement isn't the same in order to earn this. So a portion of their tuition, fees, and a book allowance is included in this award. There's no GPA requirement, and it's really just to encourage students to pursue careers in those really high demand career fields. So it's a really great option to look into if your child's planning to attend a technical school in the state of Georgia. The last requirement for Hope and Zell is the rigor requirement. So students must have 4 courses of rigor in order to earn these 2 scholarships. That is often misconstrued as needing 4 AP courses, and that is not correct. Rigor by the Georgia Student Finance Commission terms is any of these classes that are listed here, and there's a huge long list at Georgia Futures we have linked there for you. But dual enrollment classes and core subjects, AP classes and core subjects definitely do count. But on-level courses like the 2nd and 3rd year of a world language, Algebra 2, which everyone has to take to graduate anyway, senior year math classes, and then forensic science, chemistry, and physics all count towards the rigor requirement. If your child is not going to meet that requirement, the counselor will reach out to you directly so that we can make decisions about their senior year schedule. Here's a screenshot of Georgia Futures. I really can't stress enough how important it is for your child to have an account with this website. We need a copy of your child's Social Security card on file in order for their account to link to them directly so that they can actually see their GPA calculation. Students would be unable to receive the Hope Scholarship, the Zell Miller Scholarship, or the Hope Grant if their Social Security number is not on file. When they become a senior, if we are missing it, we will notify them, but it couldn't hurt to check now. if you go and create your Georgia Futures account and you're having trouble seeing your Hope GPA, there's a high likelihood that that's the reason why. But your child's counselor would be more than happy to sit with them and help them go through this. Ms. Doe explained how they can make appointments with us. And again, we can always call you while we're with them, have you on speakerphone. We're more than happy to answer any questions that you guys have through this process. Okay, so another way that you guys can access information and find out things, commonly asked questions that you're looking for, is the counseling website. We have put a lot of time and energy into updating this over the last few years. You can access it by going to Lambert's homepage, and under Student Services, counseling is the first tab down. So when you're on our page, the most important page for you guys this year is that 11th grade info page. That's where this presentation is going to be posted. We have a presentation from Apple Ruth, which is an SAT and ACT test prep service, about the differences between those exams. That's also posted. We have a GPA calculator, links to scholarship information, tutor lists. There is so much stuff on our website, and I really encourage you guys to take a look at that. Because I think a lot of your, general questions could be answered that way. And we also have like last year's parent nights and things posted as well. We'll post when we go into the junior classroom so you guys can see what we talk about with your kids there. I think it's just a really great resource. Okay, so if you have a student athlete, it's really important that they go ahead and register with the NCAA Eligibility Center. So they're going to do that at this website right here, www.eligibilitycenter.org, once their final junior year grades are on their transcripts. So this will be at the very end of this year. We can show them how to submit their official high school transcript to have it go to the Eligibility Center. And they'll be able to submit their official SAT or ACT scores themselves. Okay, dual enrollment is a huge topic that we get lots and lots and lots of questions about. First, I want to tell you that our dual enrollment virtual parent night is going to be January 27th at 6:30 p.m. On Teams. Hopefully there won't be any technical difficulties that evening. But dual enrollment is a really great opportunity for a lot of students, and it's gaining in popularity every single year. One question that we get a lot of times is whether students should pursue dual enrollment or AP. And really that's a very individualized answer. And so we really encourage you guys to attend the dual enrollment parent night. And then students are going to have the opportunity to attend dual enrollment seminars in small group settings with their counselor before they are able to sign up. So essentially what dual enrollment is an opportunity to earn high school and college credit simultaneously. So students will apply to and enroll at a local college, and you'll see right there the common schools that Lambert students attend. I would say UNG, Georgia State, and Linear Tech are definitely our top three. Students can choose to take classes virtually. They can choose to take classes in person on their campus. But for example, a student will be taking English 1101 through University of North Georgia. And while they're earning that English 1101 credit for their college transcript, it's also counting as an advanced composition 12th grade lit credit for their high school graduation requirements. So it's really important that students who do dual enrollment kind of know what they're getting in for, because that grade that they earn in the class is appearing on two transcripts. It's affecting two GPAs, the college GPA and the high school GPA. So the stakes are a good bit higher, but it is a really great opportunity if you're looking for other ways to fund college as well, because dual enrollment is completely free. There is a cap on the number of hours that students can earn through this program. That has changed over time, and now students can take up to 30 dual enrollment funding hours, which equates to a full year of college. We typically recommend that students wait until their junior or senior year to participate, especially now that that funding cap exists. More information can be found on Georgia Futures. Again, it's a super, super important website. And it's really important that if a student is planning to participate, that they plan to attend one of our dual enrollment seminars and then schedule an individual meeting with their counselor. All of this is going to take place in second semester of this year. The dual enrollment deadline is set by our district and is usually sometime at the end of April. And that is a deadline for the entire school year of their senior year. So it's really important that if they want to participate in dual enrollment, that they plan to meet with us next semester as soon as that course registration process starts, usually around February of every year. All right, so Miss Fagan is going to give you guys a little bit of information about the internship and mentorship for Scythe program.
Good evening. Can everyone hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Good. Well, thank you, Chelsea, for letting me join in tonight to speak for just a minute about internship and mentorship for Scythe. These are two wonderful programs that are available to your student as a senior. It is an application process. Registration will open probably mid to late January. I know for this past application, the deadline to submit was March 12th. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of the timeline that we are looking at for next year. So be looking for those applications just after the holiday break. My name is Susan Fagan. I am the coordinator for Lambert. Internship for Scythe and mentorship for Scythe are two programs that we handle out of the College and Career Development Office. Internship is an opportunity for your student to go out into the workforce to hopefully find out if the career pathway that they have chosen in high school is what they really want to do, or on the flip side of that, maybe find out that it's not what they want to do. That's just as important. And then mentorship for Scythe is maybe your child hasn't spent very much time in a CTAE pathway and is just looking to go out and do a job shadow opportunity to find out and explore a little bit about careers before they graduate high school. If you go to the Forsyth County Schools website and do /CTAE, you will find information about both of these programs, along with my contact information. If you could go to the next slide, please.
Miss Fagan, we can't hear you.
Am I back on? I'm not sure what happened.
You're back on.
I'm sorry.
No worries.
Internship for Scythe. As far as the requirements, your student must be at least 16 years old with reliable transportation and have a defined career goal. As far as internship, it may be a paid or an unpaid opportunity. They must have a good attendance record as well as good grades, positive discipline record, and they will be required to get 2 teacher recommendations. As far as the mentorship for Scythe program, pretty much the same requirements. In addition to those, there is a year-long capstone research project that the student will be required to do because we want them to explore the career that they are doing their job shadow in, to learn about that career and have some background to go with that. I will put my contact information in the chat so that if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. What is important to know right now is that the application will come out mid to late January, and then it will probably be due early March. So if you're interested in that, I ask that you consider applying. Just make sure that everybody's on board, the parent, the student, because it is an application process, and we usually have probably over 200 applicants. And once your child is selected, that means they're knocking someone else out of the opportunity. So we just ask that you make a commitment when you do apply. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Susan. Appreciate you being here tonight. Okay, so moving forward with a couple of other opportunities for your juniors. The ASVAB is coming up. So that's the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery. It measures student strengths and weaknesses in a lot of different areas. And while it is traditionally used, like when a student chooses to enlist in the military, it's a really good kind of baseline tool to use if your child is having those conversations with you about, I have no idea what I want to do, I have no idea what I'm good at. It helps them kind of narrow down post-secondary options that align with things that they're interested in and things that they're naturally good at. So we really do think that the ASVAB is a really good opportunity. But it's going to take place on October 27th at 8 a.m. in a computer lab here at Lambert. Students can register by scanning this QR code. They have all the way up until October 25th to register. And we do have like ASVAB people who come and proctor this exam for them. And it is free of charge. So it's a really, really great opportunity if it's something that, you and your child have been having conversations about recently. Okay, SAT and ACT is a huge one. So this is something that people really start to think about when they are hitting their junior year. And so we really want to make sure that you guys leave tonight with some good information about, the timeline for this and how you should be thinking about these exams. So first, when should students take these and which one should they take? We typically recommend that students plan to take the SAT or ACT or both at the completion of Algebra 2. So Algebra 2 is basically considered a prerequisite for these two college entrance exams. And so it's really important that, that your student is at least close to finishing Algebra 2. So if they're taking it this year, they would want to wait until, end of second semester or next summer before they take the SAT or ACT for the first time. If your student has already taken Algebra 2, they could go ahead and start preparing for these exams now. Colleges have zero preference as to which exam students take. So not a single college out there will care whether you submit SAT or ACT scores. So because of that, we typically recommend that students sit for both exams at least one time. Oftentimes what we find is that students naturally will prefer one over the other, and that's different for every single student. The SAT is kind of known to be a little bit more complex, but students have more time per question. So if you have an anxious test taker, they may feel more confident in the SAT because they're not quite as rushed going through the exam. The SAT is broken into two sections, which is just the English and reading section and then math. Whereas the ACT, students have a lot less time per question, but the questions are known to be a little less complex. So, and it also has 4 sections, including a science, which the SAT does not have. So if you have a super strong science and math student, they might like the ACT more. It really, really just depends, which is why we recommend sitting for both. Students who, prefer one over the other can choose to take that one again and see, if their score improves over time. There is an optional writing section for both exams, and we recommend having the writing portion done at least one time. The reason for that is because if your student chooses to add a list to their college list or a college to their list later on that ends up requiring the writing section, you don't want to be scrambling at that point in time needing to get a writing test done. It's kind of good just to have in your back pocket. But if you are absolutely sure of every school that your child is going to be applying to and none of them require the writing section, then it is optional and absolutely not required. Students do tend to take these exams more than once because of the option to super score. So super scoring is when you take the highest section score from each sitting of the exam, put them together for one big overall composite super score. So if you do better on math one section and better on reading the next section, you can add those 2 high scores together. A lot of colleges will accept that super score, but not every single one will. So it's really important that you check the college's website. They will share that information with you. They're not trying to hide it. So that's good at least. Prepping for the SAT and ACT can be a little bit overwhelming, but there are a lot of resources out there, including a lot of free resources. College Board's website actually links with Khan Academy, and so students will be able to log into Khan Academy, log into Common App, link those 2 accounts together. They'll look at their PSAT score that they took last year as sophomores, and it will give them very specific course prep for the SAT that's completely free based off of how they did on the PSAT. For the ACT, there's a lot of free resources on Google, free practice tests, that sort of thing. And actstudent.org has some resources there for you as well. We also have a good relationship with Appleruth Tutoring. You'll see this picture over on the right. We are offering some mock exams. These 2 mock exams are coming up this weekend. It's not too late to register. They'll be held on campus, and then there's going to be a mock exam virtually at the end of October. And so those are taken in a very legitimate test-like environment, and then Apple Roost scores them and gives you information about their recommendations for prep for the future as well. Students do have to register for the SAT and ACT themselves, and so we'll do that by creating an account with College Board or with actstudent.org. The test dates for the year are already set, so you could go in and look and see when tests are coming up and kind of start to make your plan as to when you'd like to tackle that this year. Okay, so kind of starting to wrap up a little bit, things that we really want to make sure that you guys and your students are taking care of this year. So we want to register and prepare for the SAT, at the very least kind of have our makeshift plan of when we're going to be taking them. Most colleges, at least in Georgia, are no longer test optional. And so the SAT and ACT is required for this graduating class, and it will likely be required for your child's graduating class as well. We really want students to be thinking about career interests and the educational requirements associated with those. So if they know that they want to be a lineman, you know, there are tons of opportunities to get paid to go to school for that without spending a lot of money on a four-year degree. It's really important just to kind of think about how their decisions now are going to impact things once they leave high school. And we love to have those conversations with students. So we would love for them to make appointments with us and get to know us. We want you to consider all post-secondary options. So four-year school, two-year school, apprenticeships, all sorts of things that Ms. Doe was mentioning earlier. And if college is in the plans, then we want you to start making a tentative list of where you'd like to see your child apply. So that's Reach, Target, and Safety schools. And we talk about this at Senior Parent Night at the very beginning of the school year as well. But we want the college list to have a variety of options. So safety schools are schools where their admissions percentage is very high, and you know your child exceeds the GPA and test score minimums to be accepted, and we have a really good shot of getting in. Target schools are kind of the bread and butter of their list, and it's where most students end up. So you know your GPA and test scores fall right in line with the middle 50% of students that are that are accepted to their university. And then Reach schools are not required, but at Lambert, we do see students apply to Reach schools pretty regularly. Those would be schools that have a very small percentage of students who are accepted every year, or maybe it's a Reach because of financials. You know, maybe your child really, really is dying to go to school in California, but that out-of-state tuition is a little bit of a Reach, right? And so we still want students to apply to Reach schools, but also have a backup plan. Don't forget to take advantage of the campus visits, the 4 excused absences that you get. You can come pick up the permission slip from the counseling office. And we also have college visits virtually this year here at Lambert. So that information is always posted on the Lambert counseling page. And then teachers are also have that information every Monday. So your student could always ask the teacher about which colleges are going to be hosting virtual meetings. These are really honestly under-attended. I think it would be great if more students took advantage of it, because they're local college reps for schools all over the country that are dedicating an hour of their time to just answer questions and share a little bit about the application process for their school. So students get really kind of personal information, and they're able to ask really specific questions. And I think that it's a great opportunity to get connected with the local rep for schools they may be interested in. We want you guys to go ahead and get connected with College Board this year as well. They have a personality assessment. Again, you can get practice information for the SAT and ACT there, and you can search for colleges as well. Maybe the most important part is that we really want students to focus on maintaining a healthy mental balance this year. We are seeing a huge uptick in mental health issues with our students this year. I think being virtual last year and all that stuff, their courses are more challenging this year. Being back in a school with 3,000 is overwhelming. And we really, really, really want to make sure that everybody understands how important preserving their mental health is during this college application process. Every year at Lambert, this is a really, really, really stressful time for students. They're all chatting with each other. Where are you applying? Where are you applying? I encourage every student who comes in my office to just take themselves out of that conversation because it really, really adds to the pressure that they feel. We want students to consider the workload and rigor of their classes and ensure that they're not taking on too much. We want them to pursue intellectual interest and get involved in extracurriculars that truly mean something to them, not just so that they have enough to add to their college application. Students should really plan to take advanced classes in the subjects that they truly love, rather than feeling like they need to take advanced classes in every single subject. It's really important that they're having enough time to spend time with their family and eat meals and sleep, right? We see students all the time who are like, I could only get 3 hours of sleep last night because I had so much homework. That means that they are taking too rigorous of a workload. And so we just really, really want you guys to have honest conversations with your kids about how they're feeling, you know, how they're coping with this new school year, and encourage them to make appointments with us because you know, we all have masters in counseling. We're more than happy to sit and chat with your child and make sure that they're doing okay academically, personally, socially, all of the above. Final little tidbits. We want you to visit the counseling webpage often. We do update it almost every single day with new information, and this presentation and recording will be there tomorrow. So you'll be able to watch those videos that we weren't able to play. Make sure that you and your child are involving your counselor in the college search and application process. Like I said, we love to sit down with them and help them build that college list and kind of start dreaming with them. So we really look forward to those conversations. And the most important thing that you guys can do this year is to just start to develop your plan. The time to apply to college will be here soon, but it's not yet, right? So they do have some time to just focus on school, focus on themselves this year, and really start to work out a plan. And lastly, we definitely don't want you to panic. We have all been doing this for a while, and we are more than happy to help you guys with any questions that you have throughout the process. This last slide is just some helpful links of things that we mentioned tonight. Again, since this will be posted, it's just really easy for you guys to go to that last page and click them. So the counseling website, the Georgia Futures College Board, Going Merry, FastWeb, and scholarships.com are all just scholarship information. It's never too early to look, although most of them you won't be able to apply for until your child is a senior. So that concludes the informational portion of our evening. I believe that we are having maybe a little bit of an issue with the chat. It seems like Microsoft Teams is very glitchy tonight, but we do have some of the other counselors that are on. And so if you're able to access the chat and you have some questions, feel free to go ahead and add the questions to the chat, and we will kind of take turns answering them. If you can't access the chat, I am very sorry, but please reach out to your child's counselor. I'll go ahead and put up the slide with our faces so you know who to reach out to, and we'd be more than happy to get back in touch with you tomorrow. I really appreciate everybody's patience tonight and everybody showing up to get all the information, and anything that we can do to kind of partner with you and support you and your student through this process, we'd be more than happy to do so. Thanks, guys. Okay, the first question that I see says, if we miss the PSAT sign up and want our child to take the real PSAT, is there someone we can talk to get the child added? I don't believe so. Mr. Meinberg is the administrator who is over the PSAT, but I believe all the materials have already been ordered, and so there's no way to add somebody at this point.
Okay, next question. Someone mentioned that they haven't seen any information regarding the financial aid night on October 5th, which is this coming Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. And that is because it was originally only going to be for seniors, but we decided to open it up to juniors. You will be able to access the Microsoft Teams link through the Lambert homepage, where you probably found this link tonight. It's also been posted on our social media platforms. So if you are not following the Lambert High School Facebook page or the Lambert High School Instagram page, please make sure that you are on our social media platforms so that you can are informed on that. I will go ahead and send out a messenger tomorrow morning to the juniors and seniors, and that will come to your email, and that will include the link for the virtual financial aid night that will be this coming Tuesday, October 5th at 6:30 p.m. But again, the link will also be available on the Lambert High School homepage under school news, and it will also be available on the Lambert High School counseling page as well, and the junior and senior pages for that. So please look out for the messenger tomorrow. Also, you can just access it from the website. And then another parent, I'm sorry, asked about, are we going to share this presentation with you all? And yes, it will also be on the Lambert High School homepage and also be on the Lambert High School counseling page for 11th graders as well.
Thanks, Ms. Moore. This is Joseph Hack. I see a question about how available are the counselors for the kids/parents. It just really depends on, I guess, the season. I know right now with college apps and different things that are going on, it is a busy time for us, but we do try to make ourselves available for students and parents. If it's an emergency, definitely we would stop what we're doing and try our best to meet with the student. If we ourselves aren't available, one of our counseling staff members would meet with the student.
I see a question. Is AP Psychology counted as a core class or elective for the Hope Scholarship? AP Psychology would be counted as a core class. And then with the quality points, Hope would take off the full quality point that we award and then award 0.5, as long as it does not exceed 4.0.
Next question I see says, you mentioned 4 college visits. Is this total or is it for senior year and for junior year? Students get 4 college visits their junior year and 4 more their senior year. So again, those are excused absences. They just have to fill out that permission form before the college visit, and they can pick that up in the counseling office.
Next question, how quickly can we schedule a counselor meeting to discuss college list? Well, your student is a junior at this time, and yes, we want our juniors to be able to get ready, start developing their college list. Mrs. Doe and Ms. Buccarati talked a little bit earlier about how students can schedule a 15-minute meeting with their counselor through the QR codes in their teachers' classrooms, as well as there's a link on our counseling website as well to make appointments. So your student, and that is a student-only QR code, so your student can make an appointment at a time that is works best for them. We typically recommend that students make appointments during their elective period so they don't miss core class time in order to come in and make an appointment with us to discuss colleges and things of that nature.
The next question is, will the financial aid night meeting be recorded and posted on the website? Yes, it will be recorded and posted on the website.
Next question, can my son still opt for extracurriculars at this time? Yes, we do have all of our extracurricular activities uploaded on our counseling website, or not counseling website, sorry, school website. And so all of the extracurriculars are listed, and students can actually click on the particular club or student organization and would be able to see who the sponsor is for that club. And so, your student can reach out to the sponsor to see when the next meeting may be, or any other requirements for that particular extracurricular activity.
Okay, somebody said they missed the response about the PSAT registration. Unfortunately, that deadline was very strict, as I had to order materials for the students who chose to take it. So I don't believe that there is any way that students who missed the deadline could still register for the PSAT this year. Next question says, if a student takes English 1101 through dual enrollment, is it okay for them to also take AP Lit, or will they not get credit for both classes in college? So it will count, they'll both count separately as high school credits. They're different high school course numbers, but it does count as the same college credit. So that would be something that we'd recommend having a conversation about to kind of make sure that your dual enrollment versus AP plans kind of make sense together.
Yeah, another question about, is this presentation going to be recorded and will be available on our website? So again, yes, this presentation as well as the future financial late night presentation will be available on both the Lambert High School homepage under school news and the counseling website under the 11th grade page specifically. Next question is early application deadline November 2021 for most colleges. Okay, so your student is a junior, so that would be next year. So that would be early application. So that would be October 15th of 2022 would be their deadline. That's usually the very first early application deadline. And then the next early application deadline is usually November 1st. But every college is different, and on a year-to-year basis, those deadlines may change. So we always encourage that you and your student get on the college's website to review their most up-to-date deadlines.
Next question is it true that UGA and other colleges place a limit on how many students are accepted from Lambert or other Forsyth County schools? That is something that that is information we are not privy to. So I don't know how to best answer that. If any other counselors want to step in, feel free to respond to that question.
So there is not a quota, if that's what the question was asking. They don't have like a certain number, like, oh, only 150 Lambert students will be able to be accepted this year or anything like that. We always want to remind families that, UGA, although it is our one of our more popular state schools in the state of Georgia, that students from all across the United States and, all over are applying. So they don't specify how many students from each state or each country are able to be accepted. So they look at the best applicants and the best applications, obviously, and determine who is going to be accepted throughout their application process. There is not a specific number from Lambert High School or Forsyth County School.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. The next question is, how important is the social activity hours for college? That they don't actually have a number that they're looking for in terms of, I'm assuming it's extracurricular hours. Extracurricular activities are important. Colleges do value that, but there's not a number of hours. The way that I explain it to students is they're looking for depth rather than breadth. Don't just have students join a bunch of clubs just to put it on their resume. but how are they being involved in those clubs, and what kind of impact is it having on them as a student in person, as well as either the school community or local community?
The next question says, is there any time frame to schedule a meeting with the student's counselor and parent? We are always available for student appointments, so students can definitely schedule an appointment time with us through the QR code or our counseling website. And parents as well, if you reach out to your counselor via email. Email is usually the fastest way because we're not always by our phone. So if you send us an email, we would be happy to schedule something with you as well.
And the last question that I see right now says, does dual enrollment aid in college admissions? And that really is kind of a complicated question with a complicated answer. Unfortunately, the answer is it depends, right? Dual enrollment would be one way that students can seek out some academic rigor. Like we said before, dual enrollment or AP courses is not a requirement to be accepted to a four-year college, but there are some pretty substantial differences between AP and dual enrollment. And so we would definitely recommend attending that dual enrollment parent night and then having your child attend one of those dual enrollment seminars next semester so we can ensure that they're making the right choice for them academically. I think that is the last question, and we are right out of time. I really, really appreciate you guys showing up for us tonight and getting the information and the patience that you had with our technical difficulties. If you have any questions whatsoever about anything that you learned tonight, please reach out to us and we'll be happy to be back in touch. Thank you and have a good evening.